Hey, thanks for joining. Welcome to the channel, High Performance Leadership Mastery. My name is Marq Neasman, and you're tuned into another High Performance Leadership Masterclass. So thanks so much. I appreciate your time. We are dedicated to helping companies go from $10 million to $100 million throughout within a 3 to 5 year time span. And we do this by improving people, processes, products, and profitability. I'm the principal and founder of Marq Neasman Consulting, and today we're having a powerful conversation about confidence. Confidence. And what I believe wholeheartedly is for you as a leader, it's important for you to be able to not only assess confidence, but to develop it as well. And what I want to do is give you a framework that's going to help you do exactly that, and then walk you through how to use it. So with no further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it, hey? All right, how to assess and develop confidence. And this is a proven formula for you as it pertains to acquiring talent, all right? If you are going to scale growth as a leader, you can't do it by yourself. No one achieves anything great on their own. Not great, you can be successful on your own, but you want to achieve anything great on your own, right? Because success is in the eyes of beholders, but greatness is undeniable. And the way always to greatness is through people. And ultimately, not obviously not any person, right? Because there's no lack of quality talent. There's no lack of unqualified talent, right? There's no lack of unqualified talent. So ultimately, we have to be able to assess the mindset of an individual, not just their skills and maybe even not just their character, right? But what is the trajectory that they're on? Because that's what we're buying into. We're not buying into the person you are now. We're buying into who it is that you become for the organization in 5 years. That's ultimately what it's about, right? So let's get into it. Now, before we go too far, I do want to break down this framework of high performance leadership, because ultimately I believe is what you're looking at every single time that you look in on any person in your life, especially if you meet them for the first time. You're trying to assess skills. Do they have a talent? Do they have a skill set? We focus on the big three: sales, coaching, and speaking. Sales, coaching, and speaking. These are the big three, as we call them. They are prevalent in any industry. It doesn't matter what you're doing. They're transferable to any industry. It doesn't matter where you choose to go. And they'll all generate you $1 million or more, okay? And then another thing that we're always looking for inside of an individual, we're always looking for character. How is this person showing up on a day-to-day basis in the lives of other people, right? And while skills are pretty evident, they show themselves relatively quickly and they help you to scale up, right? It's typically the character that we really buy into on a person, and that makes us want to do long-term life with someone, right? Now, there is something that's not showing up here, because the reality is most of the people on your team are going to fall in this category. They have a high character, but they have a low skill set. And it's up to you to train them and to increase their skill set, right? And ultimately, everyone wants to be in this corner over here. They want to be people with great skill sets and great character as well, right? We call those high performance leaders. They are high performers, right? They are within the top 5% of their industry, and they have a high degree of character. Now, what determines this? Ultimately, it's the amount of people that they have that's associated with their downline. You can't reach this degree until you have at least 5 people associated with your downline, as far as we're concerned here at Marq Neasman Consulting. Now, this is important because, if there was a trajectory that we'd be on, obviously we want it to look a little like this, right? Or maybe even more like this, right? So this is to get this amount of trajectory. This is a huge trajectory. To get this amount of trajectory out of any person, it requires what we refer to as a growth mindset or an exponential mindset. This growth is multiplication. It's not incremental, right? That's incremental. That's addition, right? This is how most people grow. Most people grow like this, okay? But that's not how we teach you to grow here at Marq Neasman Consulting. We teach you how to compound on just getting better 1% a day. Okay. And it looks like you ending and being a high performance leader ultimately. We absolutely don't want these people, low character and low skill set. They don't serve you. And these people don't last long in your organization. Very enticing because they have skill sets, but they don't tend to last long because they lack the character. Okay. So if this is our goal, how do we get there and what is it that we're looking for? Well, confidence is going to play a big role in it because it's going to require you to buy in consistently to this person and this confidence that you're buying into ultimately. And so here's what we say about confidence that makes it so important. Confidence is currency, is what you're buying, and you pay with your influence, right? If you're an employer, the people that you are on your payroll have influenced you by way of their confidence to pay them. Now, if they're actually I hope they're actually delivering on it, right? But that's ultimately what they've done. Confidence is what we're looking for in talent. Is what you portray when you close a sale, and ultimately is what draws people to you, and the lack thereof is what repels people away, right? So just before we get to the framework of confidence, it's an 8-phase framework. And we have a bonus as well. But this 8-phase framework we're talking about is pretty much very easy to understand, very easy to read, but it's broken up in 2 categories. Okay, it's more like a table, if you would, a 2-part table. The elements on the left are going to be the pillars of confidence that we must embrace if we're going to achieve success. And the elements on the right are the necessary resisting forces that remain until the mental strength to overcome them has been developed. So let's talk about it. All right, here we are, the 8-phase framework. Now, again, you see 9, and we'll talk about why that's there, but focus on the 8, okay? Because no matter whether it's building a friendship, no matter if it's going on a date and trying to build a relationship with a person, no matter if it's a new work associate or a partnership you're forging or a merger and acquisition, does not matter. Every one of these will be experienced because we're all humans, and we all have what's known as a prefrontal cortex, and we all have an amygdala. Okay, the elements on the right require your prefrontal cortex. This is what we use for foresight. It's what we use for thinking. It's what we use for logic. It's what we use for planning, right? It's what we use for faith. And the elements on the right here are really a part of our amygdala, and they're designed, they have a good cause, it's designed to keep us safe. All right, but it is typically fear-based. All right, so let's go through it. In developing confidence, what I'm looking for is these areas to determine where I think or where a person is in their development of their mind, be it pertaining to a specific task that we want done or overall confidence about their approach on life, right? Does not matter. I promise you, it does not matter. This is for personal and for professional use. Obviously, we're here for me to grow you as a leader, for me to grow you as an executive, but this is one you can take anywhere into your life, okay? So remember, the elements on the right or the left are what we have to develop, and the areas on the right are the necessary resisting forces, okay? So when you think about it, anytime you meet someone new, let's say you go to a speaking engagement or a networking engagement and you meet someone new, that's a connection that you forge. Well, instantly, all right, there is skepticism or doubt that arises, whether in you or that person, almost instantly, because you don't know them. It's natural, it's normal. But the only thing that gets you beyond that skepticism and gets you to commit to, say, coffee or something like that during the morning is going to be you just making a commitment. You just made a decision in your mind that nothing's going to stop you from building your network, because you realize your network is your net worth, right? So you commit. And when you commit on that ride for coffee, there's fear that pops up, right? To whatever degree it might be, okay? Some degree of fear or doubt pops up in your mind. And the only way that you overcome that fear or doubt, be it, and obviously if you've done this a lot, then there's low fear. But if, like speed dating, you've never speed dated before, there's going to be some higher fear there, right? And the only way that you overcome that is with courage. And the moment you overcome it with courage, the next thing you'll have to deal with is failure, guaranteed. Guaranteed, the next thing you'll deal with is failure, because if you're setting out to do something new, chances are you won't be good at it, right? Chances are you may struggle a bit to accomplish it. And so naturally, you're not going to do everything right. You'll fail. And that's okay. Failure is a part of the process. Failure is how we learn. Failure is how we grow, right? Fail fast, fail forward. So what helps us overcome failure? Well, as we develop competency. Stage 4. And you know when you're speaking to someone and they know what they're talking about. That's competency. I know what I'm talking about, or I know what something is. It's just I'm able to identify it. That's all. Okay. What? That's it. All right. We call it knowledge. Okay. Now, what is the necessary opposing force to knowledge or competency? Well, it's ignorance, because the reality is you don't know what you don't know. Okay. And if you're a psychologist, then this aligns very well with what you know to be the foundational truths of psychology, right? And this can be known as unconscious incompetence, right? You don't know what you don't know. And so we have to overcome ignorance. And the only way really to overcome ignorance takes a while, but first is to build a conviction. All right. And that comes naturally as you just keep growing, you keep getting reps, you keep learning, right? Eventually you'll build a conviction, right? I've built a conviction behind high performance leadership. Is this the only way that you can go about building a $100 million business? No, but it's one of the simplest and it's tried and true. And we've seen it happen across over 8 different industries. So we know that it works, right? And that's what gives us a conviction. It's not that there isn't more. It's not that there aren't some that could be better. It's that this is simple, it's efficient, it's effective. And that's what we value most as far as putting it in the hands of other people and trusting that we can stand behind it with a guarantee of seeing 40 to 60% increases in impact, income, and influence. Heck of a deal, right? And so that's why we love high performance leadership so much. It's not the only, but we have a conviction behind it, right? And naturally, once you get good at something, once you know something, now you develop a capability. You know what to do and how to do it. Capability, how to do something, right? We call that wisdom. Now, once you've developed a capability to some sort, there's the next thing. I think I skipped one here. Okay, so once we develop conviction, the immediate force that we have to overcome is that of complacency. Okay, is that of complacency. And complacency looks exactly like what it is, right? Once you develop the conviction, a way that you will choose to go about living life and do something, most people turn off. Most people shut off right there. They say, hey, all right, this is what I'm going to do. This is the way I'm going to do it. I'm not going to listen to anything else. But that's not the end of the growth. That's not the end of the development. That's not the end of the journey. You're only halfway there. And this is where most people get stuck because of complacency. They say, well, I know a little something. I know enough to carry a conversation, and that's good enough for me. And so they stop right there. But that's just complacency. It's complacency. All right. And complacency kills, and death is permanent. Complacency kills, death is permanent. How do we overcome this necessary opposing force? Well, we build more capability. We get better. We get better. That's how. And we not only know what we're talking about, but we actually know how to do it. We know how to do it. Now, like many things, just because you know how to do it doesn't mean that you are a high performer in it. It doesn't even mean that you choose to do it on a day-to-day basis. I know how to cut yards, but when it comes to me leveraging my time to do that, I'm complacent. I'd much rather hire out someone else to get it done, right? It's a perfect example of what it is that I'm explaining here, capability. Now, how do we overcome capability? I'm sorry, before we get to how we overcome it, what's the direct force? That's arrogance. It's arrogance. It's, oh, I already know what it is that you're about to say. That's arrogance. It's when you've heard a message 4 or 5 times and then the 6th time you're like, I don't really care. That's arrogance, okay? Arrogance is from people who know what to do, maybe even know how to do it, but have not necessarily achieved or accomplished anything behind it. And so that's why the next level, the next thing that that person has to do, once they say, hey, I already know, they say, well, what have you done with it? Right? What have you achieved behind it? And you say, well, it's not that serious for me. Okay, then you need to set a goal and conquer something. You need to set a goal and conquer something. All right. That's the next level for that person. And when they do that, it doesn't get better yet. They then have to overcome pride. Yeah, that's the difference between pride and arrogance. Most people don't know it. Prideful people have actually done something. They've accomplished something, right? And they say, I'm proud of it, right? That you can see it come from them. Whereas arrogant people are, tend to be critics. They have not necessarily done anything. They just may know how to do it, right? It would be arrogant of me to have a conversation with a lawn maintenance person about how to cut grass. That would be arrogant of me because they've accomplished something. Now, while I have cut yards for a lot of yards, but you get where I'm going, right? This is something that this person does every single day. They understand how to manicure a yard, how to take care of it, how to nurture it. Whereas, all right, yeah, so what? You know how to cut a yard, but what have you actually achieved behind that, right? And so you get my drift here. You need to conquer something, okay? You need to set a goal and achieve it. Set a metric, set a KPI and hit it. Set a milestone and hit it, all right? And then, once you do that, now you've developed confidence. Now you have true confidence, right? Once you have overcome this degree of achieving a goal, and what happens next? Comfort sets in. I did it. All is well. Comfort sets in, right? Now, here's why we say, so it's very easy for us to identify someone who is actually successful because they loathe their comfort. Plato said it, and I think it's very, very powerful, but he said that when it comes to the human, one of the main drugs that's highly addictive and probably the most addictive is comfort, right? And this can be detrimental to you because we all know that no growth happens in comfort. Now, when we think about that high performance leadership scale, and you ask yourself, well, where am I at on this, right? Am I here, or am I here, or am I right there, right? Am I right there? Wherever it may be, am I over here, or wherever it may be, you have to grow. You have to grow because the rule is simple. It's grow or die for all of us, me included. Grow or die. You notice the fatality rate of people who retire and just pass away. It's incredibly high because they failed to keep growing, right? This is a real thing, okay? And so now, what happened? Back to our list. So how do we overcome this comfort that we all long for so much? We have to increase our capacity. We have to set in our mind that what I aspire for more than comfort is greater capacity. I've grown in my competency. I know some things. I've grown in my capability. I've done some things. Now I want to increase my capacity. I want to increase the amount I can do in any specific time. I want to increase my impact, right? And the way that we go about setting out to do this is to give ourselves a challenge or to be challenged, right? To be challenged. And this is what I say all the time. If your employer does not provide these three things, it's not the place for you to be. This is a bonus, okay? If your employer does not provide a growth trajectory that is high enough for you, if you do not honor your leadership, you don't feel honor there among you and your leadership, and if the role that you're currently in does not challenge you, you need those three things. You need a growth trajectory, you need a true, genuine honor for your leadership, and you need to be challenged. If those three things are not existent, there's a chance that maybe not the place, but what you're doing is not what you should be doing. Those three elements have to be there in order to get the best version of you to show up on a consistent basis, okay? Setting a challenge helps to do this, right? helps to make sure that you wake up with just a little bit of angst in the morning so that you can go in and give your best effort. That's what it's all about, okay? So there we have it, the 8-phase confidence framework, 9 bonus, which is and let me say this as well before I let you go. And I want to hear your comments below too. Let me know what you think about this, all right? Let me know if this has been impactful to you and to what degree. But the people who choose this, the people who choose to increase their capacity, right? Those individuals possess something even greater than confidence. They possess humility. They possess humility. And so that's why we said 8. But the real 9th one, the people who are willing to challenge themselves, those are the individuals that are going to be diamonds. Okay? If you can find a person who's willing to consistently challenge themselves on a day-to-day basis, that is gold. That's really what we're looking for. Okay? It's not to confuse ambition, okay, with a focused goal and a focused plan, right, and a way to go about carrying it out. But absolutely, when you find someone who's willing to accept the challenge, willing to humble themselves, come down off of that plush seat, come down off of that mountaintop and start anew, or venture into a different avenue, or take on a new project, those are the people that you want to make sure that you do right by those relationships, okay? Because they're going to add mass value for your organization for years to come, quite frankly. So thanks so much. Again, today was a masterclass, and we focused on how to assess and develop confidence. Marq Neasman here. Thanks so much. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next masterclass. Fix your crown. Rule of the day.